Who's good at that? So that way you can read along if you like. Today is Saturday, so we read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita every Saturday. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parivargacharya, Asasata Shri Srimad Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Jaya Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parivargacharya, Asasata Shri Srimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Ki, Vaishnavinda Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Ki, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Ramachandra Radha Sundar Yamuna Devi Ki Ganga Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Vrindavindam Ki Mayapudam Ki Sankirtan Yagya Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda. Raise this up. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. We are reading about the Lord's attempt to go to Vrindavan, chapter 16 of Madhya Lila. And the next chapter is when the Lord actually arrives in Vrindavan, which is this is a lengthy chapter, and so is the next one. So what's happening here is we know how the devotees used to always visit every year. They would go to Puri, especially from Navadvip, but from other places too. Kulia, they would go for the Rath Yatra festival, and then it would be the rainy season. They would stay for 4 whole months. So you can imagine the anticipation. We know if we're going to go on pilgrimage to India, we're very excited about it and so much looking forward to it. And we usually go for 1 month or so, but they were going for 4 months, and it's a long journey to walk from Mayapur to Jagannath Puri. Takes quite a long time, because by train from Calcutta to Puri is 6 hours train ride, so not very long train ride, but then to get to Calcutta. So we can imagine it would take a couple of weeks, I would imagine, to walk there. And Shivananda Sain would make all the arrangements. And so where we left off was Lord Chaitanya, he had asked Nityananda Prabhu before, don't come to the festival. I want you to stay in Bengal, stay there and preach. But he felt so much separation, he had to come. So now, we left off last week where Lord Chaitanya is again asking Lord Nityananda, please hear me, O holy man. I now request something of you. Kindly grant my request. That's text 63. Then 64, do not come to Jagannath Puri every year, but stay in Bengal and fulfill my desire. And he said, you can perform a task that even I cannot do, but for you, I cannot find anyone in Gaudadesh who can fulfill my mission there. So we see that that Lord Nityananda, he preached to the masses of people, like the most fallen people, like Jagai and Madhai, and just anyone, like no material qualification. Whereas Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he focused more on the class of people. He converted like very influential people and great scholars, and head of Mayavadis and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was considered such a very erudite scholar in all of India, not only in Puri. And he was able to convert him. And then we know in South India with, Venkata Bhatta and all of these very, very high, spiritual masters and scholars and influential people. And that was his focus, although he engaged in Harinam Sankirtan also to induce the masses to chant the holy name. So today we are beginning with text 66, and if you'd like to read along, you can. There's some long purport. And if you'd like to read the Bengali, you can too. All right, text 66. Nityananda kahe ami deha tumi prana, deha prana bina nahe eta pramanana. Nityananda Prabhu replied, so this is his reply to the Lord asking him to stay in Bengal. O Lord, you are the life and I am the body. There is no difference between the body and life itself, but life is more important than the body. Achintya shaktri kara tumita haragatana, ye karaha se kari nahika niyama. By your inconceivable energy, you can do whatever you like, and whatever you make me do, I do without restriction. So he's more or less surrendering to this order. Purport. By his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, Lord Brahma is the first living creature within this universe, and he is also the creator of this universe. How is this possible? Although he is the first living entity, Lord Brahma is not in the category of Vishnu Tattva. Rather, he is part of the Jiva Tattva. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Lord who instructed him through the heart, Tene Brahma Hrida, Lord Brahma could create a huge universe. Those who are actually pure devotees of the Lord are instructed by the Lord through the heart, where the Lord is always situated. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hridesharjuna Tishtati, Bhagavad Gita 1861. If he follows the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, even though an insignificant creature, can perform the most difficult tasks by the Lord's grace. Lord Krishna confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam didami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Yeah, you're welcome to chant along the Bengali and Sanskrit if you like. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Everything is possible for a pure devotee because he acts under the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Through his inconceivable energy, a pure devotee can perform tasks that are supposed to be very, very difficult. Therefore, Nityananda Prabhu told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ye karahe se kare nahika niyama. I do not know by what regulative principle I am carrying out this wonderful work, but I know for certain that I will do whatever you desire. Although the Lord wants to give all credit to his devotee, the devotee himself never takes credit, for he acts only under the Lord's direction. Consequently, all credit goes to the Lord. This is the nature of the relationship between the Lord and his devotee. The Lord wants to give all credit to his servant, but the servant does not take any credit, for he knows that everything is carried out by the Lord. Just like in the beginning of the Battle of Kurukshetra, when Arjuna was getting cold feet and didn't want to fight, and the Lord showed him the universal form, and he told them, look, all of these warriors, they've already been put to death by me, but you should do this work, and you can be an instrument, because I can easily do it myself, the Lord can do everything himself. Like he's telling Lord Nityananda, even I can't do this, but he can do, but he wants to act through his devotees, through his servants. So he told Arjuna, you do it, and you take the credit for this. But the devotee knows it's only by the Lord's mercy that any of it can be done. And we'll hear more about that in the next couple of verses. Okay, 68. Tanre vidya dila prabhu kari alingana e mata vidya dila sabha bhakta gana. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Nityananda Prabhu and bade him farewell. He then bade farewell to all the other devotees. So this was the regular custom that went on every year. They would come and he would tell them now to go back to their Prabhu deshes and preach. Kulina grama purvat kaila nivedana Prabhu agyakara amar kartvav yasadana. As in the previous year, one of the inhabitants of Kulina Gram submitted a petition to the Lord, saying, my Lord, kindly tell me what my duty is and how I should execute it. Everyone likes to get a personal instruction from the Lord and from the spiritual master. Personal service, it's very enlivening. Like that. Prabhu kahe Vaishnava seva nama sankirtana tuikara sigra prabhu pabe Shri Krishna charana. The Lord replied, you should engage yourself in the service of the servants of Krishna and always chant the holy name of Krishna. If you do these two things, you will very soon attain shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. And so this is a major instruction to engage yourself in the service of the servants of Krishna. Like when we first become devotees, we see, wow, everybody here is so pure and they're all so advanced and we so much appreciate them. Then after some time, we may become quite familiar, and then we're thinking maybe just a couple are worthy of my service. And the spiritual master, he's advanced, and Srila Prabhupada, of course. But the rest of the devotees, and then we start to think, well, at least I'm advanced and I'm pure. I don't know about everyone else. So we see that we degenerate our consciousness by this familiarity. And here he's saying, engage yourself in the servants. So one way of doing that is by seeing the good qualities in others. Everyone has good qualities. I saw an old presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Trump. I just saw the very beginning, and they start the debate by saying, can each of you say something good about the other? They hate each other, but and they're going to tear each other apart, but they start off by saying one thing they appreciate about the other person. So I thought, that's nice. And so we see if we really try, it's so easy to find fault. And then if we're finding fault, then it's very difficult to render service to the devotees. And I heard Swayam Keshava Maharaj said, everyone has some good qualities. Just like a broken clock tells the right time twice a day. So even a broken clock, has some good quality. So like that. All right, now, so now the inhabitant of Kulina Gram is continuing his question. Tenho kahe ke Vaishnava ke tanra lakshana tabe kasi kahe Prabhu jani tanre mana. The inhabitant of Kulinagram said, please let me know who is actually a Vaishnava and what his symptoms are. Understanding his mind, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and gave the following reply. Now, often there's a kind of mentality that, everybody, like how, we shouldn't judge. That's the thing. Don't judge others. So there's a difference between judging for condemnation and discriminating. Like how we want to all elevate ourselves. So therefore we seek elevated association. We seek association of those who are more advanced than ourselves. And also, on an equal level that we can exchange Krishna Katha with. And so that's a kind of judgment because it's discriminating. I'm discriminating. Lord Chaitanya is telling now how to discriminate. So here's Lord Chaitanya's answer. Krishna nama nirantara yanhara vandane se Vaishnava kshetra bhaja tanhara charane. A person who is always chanting the holy name of the Lord is to be considered a first-class Vaishnava, and your duty is to serve his lotus feet. So that's something measurable. We can see like who has a taste for this holy name of Krishna because it's such a essential, vital principle of becoming Krishna conscious. And it's the means and the ends, but yet many of us have no attraction for this holy name. So here we want the association of those who are always chanting the holy name and who have great taste for it and for propagating it as well. Okay, purport. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that any Vaishnava who is constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord should be considered to have attained the second platform of Vaishnavism. Otherwise, we can't chant. Such a devotee is superior to a neophyte Vaishnava who has just learned to chant the holy name of the Lord. A neophyte devotee simply tries to chant the holy name of the Lord, whereas the advanced devotee is accustomed to chanting and takes pleasure in it. Such an advanced devotee is called a Majjhima Bhagavat, which indicates that he has attained the intermediate stage between the neophyte and the perfect devotee. Generally, a devotee in the intermediate stage becomes a preacher. A neophyte devotee or an ordinary person should worship the Majjhima Bhagavat, who is a Vaya medium. In his, sometimes, like here it's saying, sometimes it's the opposite. In the very beginning, we have a taste, and in the very beginning, we want to chant all the time. And then, due to offenses, primarily due to offenses and desires for sense gratification, sometimes it's the opposite. Then the taste begins to wane, and one chants less and less, and then only out of obligation, if at all. So it's but generally, if we're practicing properly, then the taste will increase more and more. One will want to chant more and more and take pleasure in it. Not that it's a burden, that I vowed to do this, and at least I'm going to keep my word, and I'm going to fulfill my vow. But boy, is it drudgery, like chewing sawdust. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. So we see that generally one rises up. So in his Upadesh Amrita, text 5, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Pranati bischa bhajanatam isham This means that Majjhima Adhikari devotees should exchange obeisances between themselves. The word nirantara, meaning without cessation, continuously, constantly, is very important in this verse. The word antara means interval. If one has desires other than a desire to perform devotional service, in other words, if one sometimes engages in devotional service and sometimes strives for sense gratification, his service will be interrupted. A pure devotee, therefore, should have no desire other than to serve Krishna. He should be above fruitive activity and speculative knowledge. In his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1111, Srila Rupa Goswami says, you all know this verse, I assume, Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karma chinavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttamam. Very famous verse. This is the platform of pure devotional service. One should not be motivated by fruitive activity or mental speculation, but should simply serve Krishna favorably. That is first-class devotion. Another meaning of antara is this body. The body is an impediment to self-realization because it is always engaged in sense gratification. Similarly, antara means money. If money is not used in Krishna's service, it is also an impediment. Antara also means janata, people in general. The association of ordinary persons may destroy the principles of devotional service. We see that in association of materialistic persons, then the katha, the conversation, is all based on mundane activities and sense gratification and bodily identification, just like in our political candidates, so much is the body. If someone's a white supremacist or someone is black, someone is Indian, it's like, if that's my particular race, then yeah, that's the one, It's totally on the bodily platform without considering what are the qualifications and what are the topics at hand. It's just so much bodily consciousness. So, let's see here, we say, so people in general. So people in general, the association of are similarly money, right? That antara may mean greed to acquire more money or enjoy more sense gratification. The word antara may also mean atheistic ideas, by which one considers the temple deity to be made of stone, wood, or gold. All of these are impediments. The deity in the temple is not material. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Similarly, considering the spiritual master an ordinary human being, Guru Shunaramatihi, is also an impediment. Nor should one consider a Vaishnava a member of a particular caste or nation. Nor should a Vaishnava be considered material. Charanamrita should not be considered ordinary drinking water, and the holy name of the Lord should not be considered an ordinary sound vibration. So honoring Charanamrita is an important limb of bhakti as well. Nor should one look on Lord Krishna as an ordinary human being. He is the origin of all Vishnu tattvas. Nor should one regard the Supreme Lord as a demigod. Intermingling the spiritual with the material causes one to look on transcendence as material and the mundane as spiritual. This is all due to a poor fund of knowledge. One should not consider Lord Vishnu and things related to him as being different All this is offensive. And again, offenses impede our advancement. In the Bhakti Sandarbha, text 265, Srila Jiva Goswami writes, Nam aikam yasya vachis marana patagatam ichyado dehadra vinadi nimitaka pashanda shobdena chadasa aparada lakshyante pasande mayat bhat tesham. I imagine it's prose, but in this verse, in the verse beginning Namaik Yam Yasya, we find the word pasanda, godlessness. The word literally indicates misuse of one's body or property, but in that verse it implies the 10 offenses against the Lord's holy name, since each of these leads to such godless behavior. Again, we see just by these offenses against the holy name, it leads to this godless behavior and this lack of taste for the holy name. The Mayavadis look on Vishnu and Vaishnavas imperfectly due to their poor fund of knowledge, and this is condemned. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.46, the intermediate Vaishnava is described as follows. Ishvare taradineshu bali sheshu drishtastucha prema matri kripa peksha ya karoti sa majamaha. The intermediate Vaishnava has to love God, make friends with the devotees, instruct the innocent, and reject jealous people. These are the 4 functions of the Vaishnava in the intermediate stage. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22.64, Srila Sanatana Goswami is taught. He's taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shraddhavana Janahaya Bhakti Adhikari Uttama Majjhama Kanishta Shraddhanistari. One who is faithful is a proper candidate for devotional service. In terms of one's degree of faith in devotional service, one is a first class, second class, or neophyte Vaishnava. Wow. So we see how important faith is. And if we're not hearing, like it's talking here about this knowledge, due to a poor fund of knowledge, Mayavadis look on Vishnu and Vaishnavas imperfectly. So we have to always be striving and obtaining transcendental knowledge through hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam and Vaishnava scriptures and Vaishnava devotees. Otherwise, we don't know what is what. Like here, how can our faith develop? How can our faith be strong if we don't even know? So this is an important point for strengthening faith. And then, all right, Shastra Yukti Nahi Jane Dridha Shraddhavana Majjhama Adhikare Se Mahabhagyavan. One who has attained the intermediate stage is not very advanced in Shastric knowledge, but he has firm faith in the Lord. So even without being very learned, one can still have firm faith. Such a person is very fortunate to be situated on the intermediate platform. Rati Prema, that was from Madhya Lila 22.67. Rati Prema Tarat Amye Pakta Taratama. Attraction and love for God are the ultimate goal of devotional service. The degrees of such attraction and love distinguish the different stages of devotion: neophyte, intermediate, and perfectional. Majjhīla 2271, we see how it's a very scientific process. An intermediate devotee is greatly attracted to chanting the holy name, and by chanting he is elevated to the platform of love. If one chants the holy name of the Lord with great attachment, he can understand his position as an eternal servant of the spiritual master, other Vaishnavas, and Krishna himself. Thus the intermediate Vaishnava considers himself Krishna Das, Krishna's servant. He therefore preaches Krishna consciousness to innocent neophytes and stresses the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. An intermediate devotee can identify the non-devotee or motivated devotee. The motivated devotee or the non-intermediate devotee does not mix with such materialistic people. Oh yeah, I thought it didn't make sense. Thanks. The motivated devotees or the non-devotee are on the material platform, and they are called prakrita. The intermediate devotee does not mix with such materialistic people. See, he's talking about devotees, so calling them materialistic people, again, it sounds like judgment, doesn't it? But this is the discrimination. Motivated devotee or the non-devotee, which is pretty easy to consider materialistic. However, he understands that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and everything related to him are on the same transcendental platform. Actually, none of them are mundane. So, can you tell me any examples? What would a motivated devotee look like? And even though we may not be able to tell what's in someone's heart, but what would be some motivation, like being a motivated devotee? In other words, not pure, as we previously read, how purely wanting nirantara, without any impediment, without any breakage, continuously, without cessation. So then wanting to serve the Lord and please Him. So what's a motivated devotee? Some examples. There you go. Yeah, position. Like, I want to rise up the ladder of status so that I will be respected. We don't have much of that in America anyway, regardless, even if one has status. We don't have a culture of respect. We haven't learned that, but we see in India, the devotees much more have a culture of respect. So one may, want to have an image so that he'll have respect from others, which is amanina manadena kirtaniya siddhahari. That's like a total impediment, because we're meant to be humble and not at all desiring respect. What else? In the right, right, and by the instructions of his guru, right, having faith in it, Narada Muni's. Yeah. Right, his great-grandfather, Brahma. Yeah, so Drishta Prabhu is saying, like Dhruva Maharaj, he started off being a very motivated devotee, engaging in that severe austerity so that he can get a kingdom greater than his father, Swayambhuva Manu, greater than his grandfather, Lord Brahma. And what else? Yes, Krishna Priyaji. Wanting to attract followers, to be to have followers, and then if you have followers, what do you get from followers? Often, what did you say? Yeah, material benefits, and then just think like here we see it also, but especially in third world countries, what could be another reason to want to be a devotee? And here it's also prevalent. Yeah, and comfort, and because generally comfort costs a lot of money. Like here, the rents are so high. To rent an apartment is like outrageously expensive, and you have to work really hard to pay it. So why not move into the ashram and not have to pay any rent, do a little bit of service? I'm not saying it's happening exactly, but I've seen in other places perhaps, and in third world countries, like even food, like, wow, look at Mayapur, you get a big plate of rice, if you're living in the temple. Well, there they have food for life as well. But to be a devotee, you get your clothes, your place to sleep, you get prasadam, and you do service in exchange. But sometimes that service is just like our japa is, can be just like a commitment to my vow, but not really for the pleasure of Krishna. So I'm doing the service so that I can stay, like you said, comfort. I can stay comfortable. You live in Mayapur. I'm sure you've seen a little bit of that. Just guessing that it could be, but even here, it's really hard to make it in the material world, and people work so hard just to pay their rent and their transportation to work, like, working for that, like just working so that you can work, and then getting very little in return. We see how just to go grocery shopping, how expensive that is. Like all of you know who have lived, outside. So that's material motivate. There's so many motivations. Yeah, motivation, that's the big one, is prestige and wanting to be recognized. Okay, any other motivations? Entitlement, right, because then if you have status. Okay, text number 73. Varshantare Puna Tanra Aiche Prashna Kaila Vaishnavera Taranya Prabhu I got that wrong. Si Kaila. The following year, the inhabitants of Kulina Gram again asked the Lord the same question. Like Krishna Priya tells me, you always ask the same questions, because I still, over years, I don't feel the answers have resolved my dilemma. So, but they're saying, hearing this question, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again taught them about the different types of Vaishnavas, because they want to know. He's telling them, about chanting and serving Vaishnavas. And okay, so now our time is almost up, and this is a very rather long purport, a page and a half purports. We won't have time, so we'll end here. Next week we'll start with text 74 of the 16th chapter. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Varhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Kriya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Giram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Namaham Vishnu Pajaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacha Nagini Sesha Shunyavati Pasya Jagate Satarane. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Goloka Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe, Jai Om.
Just a quick announcement for Shashastika. Tomorrow at noon, from noon to 2, we'll be doing Harinam Sankirtan in Chapel Hill at the post office on Franklin Street. Please come. It'll be a nice day. Students are coming back to the campus. Chaito Darpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratibanam Panamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudani Jasarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Ohaitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Bhatitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kribayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galadashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gaduradaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabhukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishava padamritam anastumam adarshanam marmahata karotuva yatatatava viditatulam patomat prananatastusa eva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Thank you, Prabhu. Shri Shastika Ki Jai.